This is Dick Tracy on the case of the Book of Four Kings. Stand by for action. Let's go, men.
Yes, it's Dick Tracy, protector of law and order. Today's adventure with Dick Tracy will be coming on in just a minute and 10 seconds. First, we'd like to know if you've ever read the books of Zane Grey. If you haven't read his books, you've most certainly seen his stories in the movies. His writing, of course, was only concerned with the Wild West, and from it you might suppose that he'd been brought up in the West and lived his entire life among the horses and the cattle out there. But this was far from the case. His father had insisted that he study dentistry, and Zane Grey actually started his professional life as a dentist in New York City. But he could never be happy in that work, and he knew it. So there came a day when he closed his dental office, moved with his wife and baby to Lackawaxen, Pennsylvania, where he could live cheaply, and there he started to write. Then for 5 long years he slaved over one novel after another, without a cent of income, until he was almost ready to give up. But his wife encouraged him to write one more book, and that was the one that was sold. Well, he was a rich man after that, but I guess it must have taken a lot of courage for Zane Grey to write that last one. Don't you think so? And now, Dick Tracy. Yesterday, Big Digger marshaled his forces for another assault on Mark Easy's bank account. He sent baguette to Mark Easy, and the young lady, using her devastating charm, persuaded him to send for more money and to pay cards again with Big Digger. Said that he was adept at manipulating cards and would see that he won. And now, while Tracy and Pat are carrying on their fruitless search for Big Digger, Mark Easy is talking to his lawyer while Baguette listens interestedly.
Now listen, Jack, don't argue with me. I want that $75,000 here by this afternoon.
Now relax, Mark. It's an awful lot of money you're asking for.
But it's my money.
After all, I'm your lawyer. Don't you think you ought to tell me what you want it for?
I don't think anything of the kind. I'm in full possession of my senses. I know what I'm doing.
Well, I hope you do.
I'd pay you to give me advice when I ask for it.
Well, there'll be no charge for this. You just be very sure you're not making a mistake.
What do you take me for, an idiot? You get busy with the banks. I want that money at my hotel here by this afternoon.
Well, as I told you before, in order to get that much, I'm going to have to sell some of your securities. You might not get a favorable break if I have to do it at such short notice.
I'll take a chance on that. Get the money here. That's all.
My, but you sound masterful over the phone, Mark Easy.
When I make up my mind to do something, I don't kid around.
You are just wonderful.
Well, that's how I got where I am today. I've always been smart. I've always seen to it that my orders were carried out.
Then the money's going to be here, all right?
You can bet your life on that.
Fine. And we'll give Big Digger the beating of a lifetime.
Say, you know, it's funny that fellow cheating me at cards. I wouldn't have thought him the type.
Nor would I. He certainly appears to be a gentleman.
They say you can't tell a book by its cover.
Maybe they do, but is it necessary?
What is it?
Just mumbling.
Oh. Say now, Baguette, are you sure we can pull off this scheme to take Big Digger?
Give me a deck of cards.
Oh, sure. Here you are, ma'am.
My daddy taught me just about every trick there is. Now watch.
Say, you can sure handle them.
Watch this one. A 3-way cut with one hand.
You got mighty clever fingers, ma'am.
Thank you. Now cut the cards. Now watch how I pick them up.
I didn't see anything.
I know you didn't. But I actually reversed the cut when I lifted up the deck. Watch, I'll do it slowly. Now I put the bottom of the cut on top. And now watch.
Yeah, when you do it slow like that, I can see it. Yeah, as you pick them up, you put the 2 halves of the deck back like there was before the cut.
That's right. So if I've stacked the deck, the cut doesn't interfere with what I'm playing.
Yeah, that's right, smart stuff. You going to pull that on Big Digger tonight?
If he isn't watching me too closely.
Nobody'd think a beautiful young girl like you would know how to make a deck of cards walk around like that.
You make it sound as if I did this for a business.
Oh, I didn't mean that, Baguette.
My father taught me all kinds of sleight-of-hand tricks with cards, but he also taught me never to use those tricks except to amuse people or to show up cheaters.
I'm sure of it, ma'am.
Frankly, I don't feel very happy about what we're going to do to Big Dicker tonight.
But don't let it worry you for a moment. He practically stole that $25,000 from me last night.
Of course he did. And I feel responsible for the whole thing because I introduced you to him on the train.
Just don't let it worry.
And another thing. We'll just win back your $25,000 and then we'll leave. I will not cheat for my own profit.
You're a noble girl, Baguette. I'm honored to have you for a friend.
Thank you, Ma. Now, tonight I want you to sit on my right. When I give you the cards, always try to cut them about the middle.
I'll do that.
And one other thing. When you've finished your deal, don't be polite and pick up the cards for me. Let me do it.
All right, I'll remember. I'd be honored if I could take you to lunch now, Baguette.
Oh, a perfectly wonderful idea. And let's go someplace elegant where I can show off my new bracelet.
The sound of shuffling cards can be dangerous music to certain ears, particularly to Mark Easy's.
Come on, Baguette, it's your deal.
You don't mind if I pick up the cards, do you, Big Digger?
No, you don't mind if the lady picks up the cards, do you, Big Digger?
Your mood is so charming this evening, it's a pleasure to play with you, Marquise.
Maybe you wouldn't be quite so genial. You'd lost the amount of money I have.
But for one thing, I know I wouldn't cry about it. If you're yellow, why do you play?
Watch out who you're calling yellow.
Oh, come now, Marquise. Let's dispense with the heroics. Nobody forced you to play cards. If you've lost money, it's your hard luck. I don't think I'm going to break down and cry because you took a bath. If you've had enough, why don't you get out?
Baguette's deal. It'd be rude for me to leave now.
Will you cut them, please?
I'll come. Let's hope it'll do some good this time.
Oh, I'm sure it will. And I'm truly sorry that you haven't won tonight.
I know.
Open for $1,000. Keep the pikers out.
Look, mister, you got around $70,000 of my money tonight. Don't call me a piker.
You're going to better talk. I'm getting tired.
I'll raise you $1,000.
I'm afraid I'm out.
I'll see you. Give me one card.
I'll play these.
Well, a pat hand. Under those circumstances, I'll check to you.
Everything I got left. $2,600. I'm not afraid of your two pair.
Well, I don't want you to steal it. I'll call.
I get an ace high straight. Well, I guess this is where my luck turns. From now on, I'll win.
Maybe from now on, but not this time. I've got a pretty little flush.
You feel the flush on me. Why, you rotten cheat. And you were dealing, Baguette. I think you were in with him.
Get out of here. I don't like the way you talk. Pick it up, chump. That's your taxi fare.
All right, I'm going. But you haven't heard the last of this.
Quick, we've got to follow him. I don't want any trouble. He'll probably go home and have a good cry, but we'll keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't try the cops.
These late vigils are ruinous to my peaches and cream complexion. Why don't we go home?
Well, you can go if you want to, Pat, but I'm going to stick it out a little longer.
Oh, I think you're crazy. But I'd stay with you.
This guy, Big Digger, must be in town, and he must be operating. In case any information comes in about him, I want to be right here at headquarters to get it.
It's a fine idea. While you stay here at headquarters, suppose I go out and investigate the coffee and sandwich situation.
That's a great idea, Patrick. Hold it, Pat. Inspector Tracy speaking.
Oh, hello, Tracy. Thank heaven you're there. I've got to see you. It's terribly important.
Just a minute. Who are you?
My name is Mark Easy. I just been cheated out of $100,000.
Is this a business deal? Were you robbed?
Please give me some particulars.
I was cheated at cards. Cheated by a crooked gambler.
Now, we're getting somewhere. What was this man's name, and where are you right now?
The man's name is... What are you doing in my room? Get out. Get out!
Hello. Hello. Quick, Pat. We've got to find a man whose life is in great danger.
Yeah, well, where is he?
He was cut off before he could tell me. But we've got to find him, Pat. We've got to.
Big digger. Afraid of what I was going to say.
As a matter of fact, yes. My business gets along very well without advertising. You, know what this is, don't you?
I know. Machine gun.
Yes, I just don't want you to be laboring under any misapprehension.
All right, I lost my head. Phoned the cops to tell them I'd been slicked. But they didn't find out anything. Look, you put your gun down, and I'll pack up and go home. I won't say a thing. And I'll forget all about what happened.
That might be all right if I were thinking of retiring, but I'm not. What do you think of Baguette, huh? You didn't think that a pretty girl like that would take you for a sucker.
I still don't.
No, of course you don't. She's too nice. She's an angel. Well, at heart, I'm a nice guy, and I wouldn't want you to die with any questions on your mind. Did you see that bracelet on her right arm? Well, you bought it with the money you lost the other night. It was a nice present, too. And what you lost tonight will buy her a little something for the other arm. Sure, she's a nice girl, but how she loves those pretty little stones that come out of the ground.
Put that gun down, Big Digger. Don't kill me.
Oh, how I love suckers. They're my favorite people.
In a moment, we'll return to Dick Tracy. But first, from the list of great names on Broadway come the illustrious stars you'll hear every Sunday night when it's time for ABC's outstanding dramatic series, Theater Guild on the Air. This year, as in the past two seasons, Theater Guild creates all the glamour and allure of the theater in each hour presentation. And the formula for this show that is ranked among the tops in awards is basic but expert. They take a successful play, they adapt it for radio, keeping the spirit and mood of the play intact. They cast it with actors who know their work and then put the whole working script under talented directors. When the finished product is ready, the announcer says, Theater Guild on the air, and you can be sure of 60 minutes of top theater. Last year, you heard from such Broadway favorites as Helen Hayes, Clifton Webb, and Judith Anderson. Such Broadway stage sensations as The First Year and The Church Mouse and Gold. This season, you'll be hearing from many more popular actors and current as well as established successes. So don't be late when the curtain goes up every Sunday night on Theater Guild on the Air, heard on most of these ABC stations. For the best in plays, actors, and presentation, hear Theater Guild on the Air. And now, back to Dick Tracy.
Dick, did you get the guy's name?
Yes, Pat. He said it was Mark Easy. We've got to find out where he telephoned from.
Well, the needle in the haystack routine would be a cinch compared to this.
But Dick and Pat don't know that it's already too late. But can they stop Big Digger before he adds any more suckers to his collection? Better tune in Monday for The Adventures of Dick Tracy. Produced by Charles Powers, Dick Tracy is heard overseas through the Armed Forces Radio Service. And this is George Gunn speaking. Say, Tracy fans, have you ever had your breath taken away by something that has particularly interested you? Maybe it was a song you heard, or maybe it was a thrilling book that you've read. Well, ABC has a program that we think will affect you the same way. It's called The Greatest Story Ever Told, and it's just that, a truly great program. Everyone in your family will want to hear The Greatest Story Ever Told when it's broadcast each Sunday over most of these ABC stations, because, well, you'll be remembering and talking about each wonderful story for a long time afterwards. Be sure to remind your friends and your parents to hear The Greatest Story Ever Told this Sunday. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company. And now, Dick Tracy.
This is Dick Tracy on the case of the Book of Four Kings. Stand by for action. Let's go, men.
Yes, it's Dick Tracy, protector of law and order. In just a moment, we'll hear today's Dick Tracy adventure. But first, here's a thought for today. You know, it doesn't take money to bring happiness to yourself, and you can have a fine, adventuresome life without it. Take Dr. Wilfred Grenfell, for instance. Now, there was a man who started many years ago to build a rich medical practice in the wealthiest section of London. And he did, too. But one year he needed a rest, and so he decided on a great adventure to spend a vacation on the coast of Labrador, that barren strip of land on the east coast of Canada. He found 30,000 fishermen living there, all of them poor, hard-working, without a single doctor to take care of them. Back in London, after his vacation, he made a decision. He would close out his well-paying practice and open a doctor's office in Labrador. The next year found him in Labrador again, traveling up and down the 15 miles of frozen wasteland to give medical care to the fishermen who had never had it before. He spent the rest of his life there working tremendously hard, but never making a single cent. Dr. Grenfell was completely happy because he was doing work he loved, and he knew he was being useful. Makes you think, doesn't it? And now, Dick Tracy. Yesterday, the doorman at Big Digger's apartment house made the singular mistake of attempting to blackmail him. And so Big Digger tricked him into a meeting on the retaining wall overlooking the underpass through the park. Once there, Big Digger beat the doorman groggy with the barrel of his gun and then hurled him into the underpass in front of a racing car. But before the doorman died, he tried to leave Tracy a message. When Tracy and Patton reached the scene of the tragedy, they saw that the dead man was holding 3 playing cards in his hand, an ace of spades, a queen of diamonds, and a 10 of clubs. Right now, Dick and Pat are finishing their investigation in the underpass.
All right, get your hand over here. Over this way.
Hi, Pat.
Oh, Dick, we're all done now. Pictures have been taken from every possible angle. I checked with the medical examiner, and he's going to do an autopsy right away.
Good work, Pat.
What do you say we hit the sack? That wind is getting chilly, and we're going to have a busy day tomorrow.
In a little while, Pat. Tell me, how about the driver that killed this man? Anyone picked up yet?
Not so far, Inspector Tracy, but I put it on the teletype, and I'm also having all repair garages within a 100-mile radius on the lookout for a car with a smashed right fender.
I'm awfully anxious to talk to whoever was driving that car.
I could spare a word or two for him myself.
Let's hope you get the chance.
Say, have you got those playing cards that the fellow was holding?
Yes, I have them here in this envelope. I took them as soon as the boys had made pictures of them. I'm going to have them checked at headquarters for fingerprints.
I wish I could figure out what they meant.
We will. Come on up here with me, Pat.
What gives? A little mountain climbing?
I'd like to take a look at the park area up here.
You know, this retaining wall is well tiered.
I'll tell the building commissioner you said so.
Thank you. Well, what are you going to look for up here?
I'm not sure yet. Come on over here. Now, there's the body right down there.
You didn't get me up here to tell me that, did you?
The car must have been traveling fast, judging from those skid marks. So it's safe to assume that the body was tossed about 10 or 15 feet at least. Let's walk down here. Shine your light around here on the cement walk, Pat.
How's that?
Fine.
Hey, Dick. What's that?
It looks to me like drops of blood.
What does it mean?
It could mean, Pat, that our doorman wasn't struck while walking along through the underpass.
No?
No. It could mean that he was up here.
And that he fell or jumped to the underpass below.
Fell or jumped or was pushed.
You smell a murder?
The odor isn't overpowering, but it's strong, Pat. And I think this is all I want to see around here, Pat. I'll drop you off at your apartment. We'll meet at headquarters first thing in the morning.
I'm for that. I don't want you to think that I'm mad for sleep, but every once in a while it comes in handy. Good morning, Richard.
Hello, Pat. Sit down.
Oh, you're so kind. Any reports in yet?
Some. I've just been going over the post-mortem. Boys did a quick job.
What's the verdict?
Well, there's no doubt but that the man died from injuries he received when the car struck him.
There goes your murder theory.
Not quite.
Well, what else did you find?
Some unexplained head injuries.
You mean something that wasn't the result of the collision with the car?
Exactly. I don't think we could ever prove anything because they could be a freak result of the collision. But I think, and Dr. Carey agrees with me, that the bruises on the face and nose were caused by a pipe or a loaded cane.
In other words, somebody belted the guy before he tangled with the auto?
Yes.
Oh, you've been reading too many books. Why try to complicate a simple hit-and-run death?
No, I'm not trying to look for things that weren't there. But supposing that someone did slug him, wouldn't that account for the bloodstains that we found on the top of the retaining wall?
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
The man could have been struck up there and then, while he was still dazed, pushed off in front of the first car to come along.
You may have something there, my lad.
Well, I'm not giving it up for a while.
How about this doorman? Did you find out anything about him?
Well, he had several run-ins with the juvenile authorities. A couple of years ago, he served 6 months in the pen.
Just a clean, healthy American boy.
Yeah, I think he was hanging around on the fringe of the rackets, trying to get in somehow.
Look what happened to him. You'd think these jerks would get wise to themselves. They lead a life that no self-respecting pig would tolerate for a moment, with nothing but prison or the chair ahead of them. What was he doing as a doorman?
Maybe he was getting set to case the joint. Duck Boy, the owner-manager of the apartment, told me that he was just keeping him there on trial.
Do you think his murder had anything to do with your showing him the picture of Mark Easy?
That's the big question, Pat. If this man's death is tied in with Mark Easy's murder, it means that someone around here is getting close to home.
And all I want to know is who done it.
You know, I think the doorman was trying to tell us when he died.
Are you crazy?
Let's stick to one subject at a time.
Well, how was he trying to tell us?
This fellow always carried a pack of cards around with him.
Yeah, I know. He had 3 cards in his hand when we saw him last night.
Yes. There they are, Pat. Right on the desk.
The ace of spades, the queen of diamonds, and the 10 of clubs. Well, what was he going to do, play 3-card Monte?
He'd been playing for his life. And when he got those cards out, he knew he'd lost.
And you think he was trying to tell us something. Well, what?
We're going to sit right here in this office until we've found out.
The ace of spades, the queen of diamonds, and the 10 of clubs. Frankly, they don't mean anything to me.
Don't give up too easily, Pat.
I didn't. It was a terrible struggle.
10 of clubs, queen of diamonds, ace of spades.
Oh, Tracy, you're starting to snow. I'm getting out my shovel.
Go right ahead, Pat. What did you say?
I said I'm getting out my shovel. I know it wasn't very funny, but it was the best I could...
Shovel. Maybe that's it.
Maybe what you need is a good psychiatrist.
Pat, what's something else like a shovel?
A hoe?
No, you idiot. A spade.
Tracy, I'm trying to humor you. All right, a spade is like a shovel.
Don't you see, Pat? One of the cards the doorman was holding in his dead fingers was the ace of spades.
Yes, I know.
Oh, you're singularly dense today, Pat. What is a spade?
We just did that one. It's like a shovel.
A spade is a digger. A digger, get it?
Mm-hmm.
And the ace of spades is
a big digger. Say.
Had enough?
Tracy, you're a great man.
Oh, well.
We think that Big Digger murdered Mark Easy, and now this doorman dies under peculiar circumstances after having been shown a picture of Mark Easy.
It's more than the long arm of coincidence, Pat. Big Digger is our murderer.
Yes, but we still don't know where he is or what he looks like.
I think I know where he is, or at least where he operates.
Where?
Almost surely in that apartment house where the doorman worked. And I think I know what apartment.
What are you, clairvoyant?
No. It's the cards again. The 10 of clubs. Apartment 10C.
Say, I'll bet you're right. Should we pick him up?
I regret to say no. No, there's not a jury in the world would convict a man of murder because a dead man was holding 3 cards in his hands. And that's the sum total of our proof.
What about Mark Easy's killing?
There again, we're stuck. All we have to go on is conjecture. We haven't one shred of evidence.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to put a detective on as night doorman at that apartment. And we'll see if we can find out who this Big Digger is.
How about me, Dick?
No, you might be recognized, Pat. I'm going to use Danny Hochter. You know, he's an up-and-coming cop. I think he's going far in the department.
Isn't he on leave of absence?
No, he got back yesterday. He was just out a couple of days while his wife had a baby. Get him for me, will you, Pat? I'm going to call Duck Boy, the owner of the apartment house. Tell him he's got a new doorman.
And at the apartment house late that very afternoon, Big Digger and Baguette meet in apartment 10C.
I see by the papers that your doorman was the victim of a hit-and-run driver in the park underpass last night.
Yes, wasn't it a pity?
How did you manage it?
I was very subtle. I slugged him and dropped him down the embankment in front of a car, neat and simple.
And safe.
A decided virtue.
There's been considerable loss of life since you came to town.
Only 2 casualties, and both completely justified.
Oh, I wasn't criticizing.
Did you see Van Rumpel?
Mm-hmm. I had lunch with him today. He's very anxious to play some poker tonight. He was so pleased when he won yesterday.
They all are. When I retire, I'm going to write a book on Dopus americanus, the common or ground variety of American sucker.
It should have an extensive sale. Have you seen your new doorman?
Have we got another already?
Why, yes, and he's beautiful. And so polite.
Does he seem accustomed to the work?
Well, just how much training does it take to open a door?
Stop being funny. I'm wondering about something.
What?
If that guy who was trying to blackmail me told the cops more than he let on, I'm going to call Duck Boy.
Who's he?
He's the owner-manager of this apartment house. He knows me as Roberts and thinks I'm a great guy. He ought to after the bribe I gave him to get this apartment.
Hello?
Hello, Duck Boy. This is Roberts.
Oh, hello.
I'm calling to complain about your new doorman. I want him fired.
Isn't he any good?
He's terrible.
Well, I'm afraid I can't fire him.
I'm not in the habit of playing games. Either fire that new doorman or I go to the State Rent Control Board and tell them you took $5,000 under the table as a bribe for this apartment.
Now, just a minute, Mr. Roberts. I'd like to do what you asked, but I can't. Please don't do anything. Just be patient. You see, I was forced to take this man by the police.
In a moment, we'll return to Dick Tracy. But first, you've probably all heard the expression, life in the raw. Well, nowhere was life in the raw better exemplified than in the great Northwest during the days of the Klondike Gold Rush. That was country that, as the saying goes, separated the men from the boys. Each Thursday night on Challenge of the Yukon, you can enjoy exciting tales of adventure set in this rough wilderness untouched by refinements of civilization. Challenge of the Yukon is a colorful program which is broadcast over most of these same ABC stations. The stories are concerned with Sergeant Preston's fight to maintain law and order at a time when authority seemed to rest in each man's pistol holster. Representative of the small group of Northwest Mounted Police who braved the elements to track down ruthless criminals, Sergeant Preston is aided by his highly trained Eskimo lead dog, King. Although many of the action-packed dramatizations on Challenge of the Yukon deal with conflicts between men, there is also variation in the plot, stories that revolve around a wolf, a bear, and other animals of the Yukon, wildlife adventures that are entirely different from anything produced on the air before this. Tune in Challenge of the Yukon tonight. And now, back to Dick Tracy.
What is it, Big Digger?
Not very good. The new doorman was put there by the police department. Call off the game tonight. I've got to do some thinking. It looks like another casualty may be justified.
It's bad luck for Dick Tracy that his scheme has been found out by Big Digger. Better tune in tomorrow for the adventures of Dick Tracy, heard overseas through the Armed Forces Radio Service. And this is George Gunn speaking. An average Mr. Radio listener recently said, "Your Thursday night Willie Piper show is certainly pleasant." Yes, it moves along so smoothly and delightfully that you'll be surprised to find yourself completely absorbed in the story, unaware that your face is covered with a broad smile. 30 minutes pass just like that, and you're left with a mellow, contented feeling. The hero of the show is Willie Piper, a well-intentioned youth who blunders his way through the darndest predicaments. He's married to a wonderful girl. They live with Willie's father-in-law. These are the chief members of the cast, and so for the story and for wholesome chuckles, hear the Willie Piper Show broadcast tonight over most of these same ABC stations. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
And now, Dick Tracy!
Tracy on the case of the Book of Four Kings. Stand by for action. Let's go, men.
Yes, it's Dick Tracy, protector of law and order. Dick Tracy will be with us in just a minute and 10 seconds, Tracy fans, and then we'll hear today's adventure. In the meantime, I wonder if you've ever thought about the games you play and how long they've been played. For instance, small girls like dolls, small boys like tops and marbles. Did you know the boys and girls had been playing with these things for hundreds and hundreds of years? You'll find uncivilized tribes today that have them, too. Yes, and how about the other games you play? You know how they started? Boys and girls both play hockey and basketball and tennis. Did you know that hockey has been played by American Indians for many hundreds of years? Did you know that the Maya Indians of Yucatan played a game very much like our basketball, but instead of having a basket for a goal, as we do, they used to throw the ball through a stone ring? Yes, and what about tennis? I suppose you think that's a fairly new game, Well, the ancient Aztecs of Mexico played a racket and ball game very much like it. They also played a game that was very much like baseball. And, of course, there was football, which was played by the ancient Greeks long time before the birth of Christ. Well, when you speak of games, there certainly is something new under the sun. And now, Dick Tracy. Yesterday, while Tracy and Patton rested in the ship's salon, Pat recovering from a blow on the head, Big Digger and Baguette went to Captain Gompas's cabin to learn the identity of the two strangers who had just taken them at cards, the two being Dick and Pat, of course. But in the captain's cabin, Big Digger discovered a wireless message disclosing Tracy's identity. Quickly getting their guns, Big Digger, Baguette, and the reluctant Captain Gompas surprised Tracy and Patton and locked them up in the ship's brig. Right now, Big Digger is in his stateroom, tying and gagging his erstwhile partner, Baguette.
Here we are. It's tight enough. I must say, Baguette, you make a cute package all tied up and gagged. Now, don't glare at me so. It's really rather necessary. I'll just sit over here on the bunk. I'm sure you won't mind. And now the Tommy gun. Useful little device, isn't it? Oh, I'm sorry I had to put a gag on you, Baguette, but it would seriously interfere with my plans if you were able to do any screaming. Now, there's no use trying anything like that. You couldn't possibly get out of there. Oh, I have an excellent idea, Baguette. You can still move your foot. If you want to say yes, tap your foot twice. If you want to say no, tap your foot 3 times. You understand? 2 taps, yes. Good. Frankly, I'm enjoying being able to air my views without any competition. Baguette, would you like to know why you're tied up and gagged in my stateroom? You would. Well, it's natural curiosity. I have a strange foreboding that my good friend, Captain Gompas, is going to try to shoot me. Now, that would be a shame. However, I wouldn't feel so badly if he shot you. So we'll just sit here in the semi-darkness until the captain opens the door. He'll be nervous, and he'll shoot the first person he sees. I believe that's a reasonable behavior analysis of an overwrought mind like the captain's. You don't mind getting shot instead of me, do you? You do? Oh, how selfish. Frankly, Baguette, since we've locked Dick Tracy and Pat Patton in the brig, I've been doing a little thinking. There's no possible way to connect me with the 3 murders that I had to commit, except through you, Baguette. You might decide to go to the police and tell all, as they say. No? Well, that's one opinion, but forgive me if I don't share it. After all, you could get off free, or at the worst with a couple of months. Now, I'm inclined to think that you'd like to turn state's evidence against me. Now, let's not keep arguing about it, Baguette. Think what a good spot I'm in when the captain kills you. He's already a murderer. He'd be in a beautiful pickle, and I would be in the clear. I'll kill Tracy and Patton with the captain's gun, and then we'll say the poor man went berserk. I can just see the headlines. Blood-crazed captain goes crazy on horror ship. Yeah, and then there'd be a subheading. Finally captured by heroism of Big Digger, prominent American citizen. Do you like that? Oh, you're in a very critical mood today, Baguette. Wait a minute. I think this is our man. Come in, Captain Gompas. The little lady is waiting. That is my way of saying I am through, Big Digger. Hello, Gompas. Yes, you have quite an original way of expressing yourself.
It is the girl. I shot the girl.
That's absolutely accurate. Now drop the gun or I'll have to use my Tommy gun on you. That's better. It was quite an entrance you made. But I think you should have had a better phrase. Something like sic semper tyrannis. That's what Booth said after he shot Lincoln. That would have made a nice quote for the papers.
My one chance to do something good, and I have ruined it.
You mean shooting me would have been good? I can't follow your reasoning there.
You are probably the only one who cannot. What are you going to do now?
In a minute, I'm going to take your gun and go down and finish Tracy and Patton. Yeah, this is a very nice revolver, Captain.
It is too bad it had to shoot the wrong person.
Oh, it's done very well. And one other thing, Goppus. You're going to commit suicide in a fit of remorse at killing Baguette, Tracy, and Patton.
You think you can get away with that? You are crazy.
What do you mean, think? I am getting away with it. And it can't help but work perfectly for me.
Are you sure you have taken everything into consideration?
What do you care?
Just please say
I got him right across the back. He won't go far. I shouldn't have used the Tommy gun. I gotta change my plans. I gotta find the captain before he talks.
This is a well-made cage, Patrick. You're not going to get out of it by shaking it apart.
Well, at least it gives me exercise.
This is hardly the time to undertake a physical development program.
From that remark, I suppose I'm to assume that you've been thinking.
To a certain extent, yes.
Well, have you thought us out of here?
No.
Then I'm going back to shaking the bars. You and your helicopters. What are we going to do now?
Get out of here and grab Big Digger.
What a wonderful idea. I hadn't thought of it.
Always reduce a problem to its simplest terms, then set about solving it.
Richard, I don't know what I'd do without you. But I have an idea I could steer clear of a lot of jails.
Why, Patrick, how ungrateful. This is the first time we've been in a ship's brig in months.
I suppose that thought is to cheer me up.
Hold it. Someone's coming down the ladder.
You're undoubtedly Big Digger to shoot us like a couple of fish in a barrel.
Hey, it's Captain Gorpus. He's been badly wounded. Look at his shirt.
I come to get you out.
Now we're doing something practical. No, here, give me the key, Captain. You're too weak to use it. Come on, Pat.
Get Big Digger.
Yes?
He shot me. I'm dying. Did not mean to kill girl. Big Digger. Get Big Digger. Tommy gun. Cabin 12D.
Dick, can we get a doctor for him?
It won't do any good, Pat. He's dead.
Then come on. Let's get Big Digger.
Okay, Pat. 12D. We open the door fast and stand aside.
Right.
I'm going in. Great heavens, Pat. It's Baguette. She's been tied to this chair and shot. Quick. Get her untied and onto the bunk.
Right.
She's still alive, and we've got to save her.
What's the time? Not here.
I'll get this one down below.
All right, that's coming up.
All right, that does it. Easy does it now, Pat. You take her feet.
Yeah.
There we go.
She's not in such bad shape. Lost a lot of blood, but I don't think it's fatal.
I hope not. We've got to get her medical care, though. See if you can find the ship's doctor. And the first mate. He's in command of the boat now.
Will do.
Warn them that we have a dangerous killer on board. I'm going to do what I can for Baguette.
What if Big Digger comes back here?
I hope he does.
Now, Dick, don't get heroic. We'll rout the guy out in good time.
I don't want anyone else shot. That's my biggest worry. Try to find the doctor first and get water.
Okay.
I'll have you fixed up, kid, as soon as we get some water and bandages. And this should sort of be a lesson to you. Pretty little girls shouldn't get to know people like Big Digger. But since you did know him, you're going to be very useful to us in court.
Put him up, Tracy.
Big Digger. Well, I was expecting you to drop in.
How did you get out?
That's my little secret.
Where's Patton?
My, aren't we curious?
What have you got Baguette on the bunk? So, she isn't dead. Don't bother to answer. If She isn't, she will be, and so will you.
Oh, don't be a chump, Big Digger. We've got you dead to rights.
I don't agree. My plan will still work with a few modifications.
I don't know what your plan is, but it's going to put you in the electric chair.
That's an event that you'll never witness. I'll get off this boat in a foreign country with plenty of money, and you will go home in a coffin.
Are you sure? You'd better look behind you.
I'm not going to fall for that one, Tracy. But I am going to give you a little surprise. I'm going to shoot you. You wanted to be a hero. That's why you were risking your life waiting here for me. Well, I'm not going to disappoint your public. Maybe they'll give you a Viking's funeral. First, I'll close the door. And then...
Hey, you're not crazy! First, we'll get rid of that gun. You couldn't swing your gun around fast enough to shoot at me. You think this one's intended to tear your head off?
That ought to keep you for about an hour.
Dick, a bum like that couldn't get you.
If you've killed Tracy, Big Digger, I swear you'll never get off this boat alive.
In a moment, we'll return to Dick Tracy. But first, every so often, a dramatic program is heard that can rightly be called truly fascinating, one whose stories are long remembered. Such a program is Exploring the Unknown, broadcast over most ABC stations each Sunday evening. And there's excellent reason for Exploring the Unknown's compelling fascination. Each of its dramatizations brings you a revolutionary and successful technique of combining fictional stories with authentic scientific information. And so, by means of a melodrama, a comedy, adventure, or mystery, facts of science are brought to your attention in a way that's easy to understand. Discoveries in medicine, physics, and other sciences are dramatized in highly entertaining fashion, with Hollywood and Broadway actors and actresses taking the leading roles. One program might reveal intriguing facts about the medical profession's conquest of a dread disease, while another might unveil new progress in the aviation industry. To lend authority to the broadcasts, at the end of each 3-act radio play, guest experts comment briefly on the dramatized subject. And so, Tracy fans, we invite you to tune in Exploring the Unknown when it's on the air over most of these same ABC stations Sunday night. And now, back to Dick Tracy.
Honestly, Pat, I wasn't playing games. When I saw Big Digger start to squeeze that trigger, I hit the deck so hard I knocked myself out.
I think you were grandstanding. Well, anyway, we've wrapped this case up.
Not quite. I have one very important thing to do when we get our prisoners back to town.
With the capture of Big Digger and Baguette, the case would seem ended. What more has Tracy on his mind? Better tune in Monday for the adventures of Dick Tracy. This is George Gunn speaking. You bet your life it's funny. It's one of the most hilarious half hours on the air when Groucho Marx takes over as MC on You Bet Your Life, a brand new show we'll bring you Monday night starting October 27th over most ABC stations. Groucho asks contestants a series of questions, and if they answer them correctly, they win prizes of cash and merchandise. There's no time limit on this show. As a matter of fact, as Groucho reassures all contestants, they can take as much time as they like, up to 5 seconds. The questions are simple, and so are the answers. Don't miss Groucho Marx as he MCs You Bet Your Life, Monday night starting October 27th. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.